Judge Hannah Dugan has been indicted on 2 federal charges: concealing an individual to prevent arrest, which is a misdemeanor, and obstruction of a proceeding, which is a felony. According to the criminal complaint and indictment, Judge Dugan allegedly helped Eduardo Flores-Ruiz, an undocumented immigrant, or we could say illegal immigrant, in her courtroom for a misdemeanor battery charge, evade immigration and customs enforcement ICE agents who were waiting outside to arrest him with a warrant. The prosecution alleges that Judge Dugan directed Mr. Flores-Ruiz and his attorney to leave her courtroom through a back door, which is only intended for jurors, after learning of, and she sent them to leave through the back door after she heard that there were ICE agents in the court. If convicted, she faces a maximum penalty of 5 years in prison and a $250,000 fine for the obstruction charge, and up to 1 year in prison, and a $100,000 fine for concealing an individual to prevent arrest. She has pleaded not guilty to these charges, and her attorneys have filed a motion to dismiss the case. Why? Because she has judicial immunity for actions taken within her official capacity as a judge, and that the federal prosecution violates Wisconsin's sovereignty. I haven't pronounced that word. So let's look at further of the laws that she allegedly violated, she's accused of violating, and then we're going to look at what her attorneys are saying why it should not apply to her. So Title 18 of the United States Code, subsection 1512, paragraph C, section 2, obstruction of an official proceeding. It's a federal law that prohibits, corruptly obstructs, influences, or impedes any official proceeding or attempts to do so. So an official proceeding is defined as a broad definition and includes proceedings before a judge. The indictment, it says that alleges that Judge Dugan's actions in directing the illegal immigrant or undocumented immigrant, whatever you like, to leave through a back door was intended to obstruct the ICE from enforcing their action, which could be considered part of or related to an official proceeding. Title 18 of the United States Code, subsection 242, talks about the deprivation of rights under color. So let's look, before we say it, let's try to understand this more. The first one, the United States 18 United States Code 1512, C2 reads, "Ever corruptly, otherwise obstructs, influences, or impedes in any official proceeding or attempts to do so shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 20 years or both." So simply put, this law makes it a federal crime, meaning federally crime, meaning anybody in the country who acts with a corrupt motive, meaning their intent is corruption, meaning they know it's illegal what they're doing, to obstruct, influence, or impede any official proceeding or to attempt to do so. So in the context of Judge Dugan's case, she's accused of violating the specific part of the law by allegedly taking actions. The actions are directing the individual to go out the back door that were intended to obstruct or impede on the actions of the ICE agents, which the prosecution argues could be considered part of or related to an official proceeding. So the key element the prosecution needs to prove is that Judge Dugan acted corruptly in doing so. The second law that she's allegedly gone against was Title 18 of the United States Code, Section 242, which talks about, you could go read it, color of law, ordinance, statute, regulation. It's very, it's not a simply termed thing, and it talks about many other things too. So let's just talk about it simply. But the law makes it a federal crime for somebody acting in official capacity, like a judge, which means color of law, to willfully deprive another person of their constitutional or federal rights, or to subject them to different punishments based on their alien status or race. So in context of Judge Dugan's case, she's accused of violating this law by acting under her authority as a judge, color of law, to willfully deprive the IC agents of their right to execute a lawful administrative warrant. They had a warrant from the federal government. It was lawful, it was a real one. And the prosecution needs to demonstrate that her actions were willful. She wanted to do that and resulted in the deprivation, and which basically held back the federally protected right of the IC agents taking the guy out. Now let's understand why she should be okay with what she did, taking the illegal immigrant out the back door. So the two things that her lawyers are saying is that judges have a special protection. They can't be sued or prosecuted for things that they do as part of their job as a judge. Why not? Because it's to let them make decisions freely without having any fear of being punished for those decisions. So Judge Dugan's lawyers are arguing that helping the person leave the courtroom was something she did while acting as a judge, so she should be protected by this immunity. And the second thing is that in Wisconsin, as a state, has its own powers and the right to govern itself. So they have their own laws, which are constitutional, and Judge Dugan is a state judge in Wisconsin. Her lawyers are saying that the federal government, ICE, and the federal prosecutors stepping in to prosecute her for something that happened in her Wisconsin courtroom that interferes with Wisconsin's right to handle its own affairs and its own judicial system. They're saying it's a matter for Wisconsin courts to deal with, and it's not for the federal government to deal with. So now that you have all the facts and everything, I want to hear what you believe is the right thing, and did she do the right thing? Is she guilty? What do you think she should be guilty based on all these facts? Of course, more facts can't come out, and this is just allegedly, and everyone has the due process to, etc., etc., United States. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe for more news and stuff and explaining it so you understand where the law comes from.